Hello and welcome everyone, this is Adam from Critical Impact Gaming, and I'm back and ready to bring you some fresh new content. So I got a battle here against a guy named Pico, and I honestly just wanted to use a team featuring a couple of my favorite Pokemon. Of course, you know, Seaking just gotta be in there. So you'll see some action from him in just a little bit here. So I'm gonna start with my Space Milk here, my blue cow, and he's gonna start off with his Galarian Weezing. Now this one actually has neutralizing gas instead of levitating. That information will actually come up pretty handy later on. So I'm gonna start off the battle, not trying to over predict too much here. I'm just gonna go for the stealth rocks, get some entry hazards up, and I honestly, for the love of God, I could not remember if Weezing got taunt or not, so I just went for it. Honestly, not a big deal. I can just go for a body slam here, try to paralyze it so I can maybe get some parahacks in later on in the game if I can't take care of the Weezing right away. Plus, I wasn't really sure what else the Weezing could do. I figured the first turn he's just going to try to go for a Will-O-Wisp. That seems to not be the case, as he does end up switching out here. Neutralizing gas does wear off as he switches out, so that's cool though. He actually goes for the Sigilyph, which is pretty interesting. Now, these things typically only ever have one move set, and that's going to be the Cosmic Power Switcheroo with the Flame Orb. I don't know, it's kind of gimmicky, but that's pretty much all that Sigilyph can really do. So I do actually get lucky with the parahacks right here. Body Slam, that's what I was going for anyway, but I did get lucky that I got it. So he cannot activate the burn, but I mean it doesn't really matter for him because he won't be affected by it anyway. So I'm going to bring out my Seaking here, and he does get paralyzed, so that's pretty much just a free turn for me to say switch into my favorite Pokemon as I go for a knockoff. Obviously I'm faster since he is paralyzed, and I do land the critical hit there, so I was able to actually take out a Sigilyph with one hit. And this Seaking is actually a fully specially offensive with max HP and max special attack, and only 4 in attack. I mean, the 4 EVs in physical attack really don't matter at all, but it's cool to have them there anyway. So now that I'm actually got a little bit of an early lead, he's gonna take a minute here and decide to send out his Turtonator. Now I know this thing is either gonna be a physically defensive wall, or it's gonna have a Shell Smash. Either way, I'm just gonna want to get the hell out of there with Flip Turn, as he just reveals that he is indeed the Shell Smash. Now these things are typically special attackers with like Flamethrower or Overheat sometimes, and yeah, it kind of depends. Sometimes you'll see Dragon Pulse and sometimes you'll see Draco Meteor. I think Dragon Pulse is a more common one. So I'm kind of debating whether to go out to Space Cow, or not Space Cow, I should have named it Space Cow, that makes more sense. Space Milk, or my Moltres. I figure Space Milk can probably handle it a little bit better since I do have the thick fat. I don't remember if this is my physically defensive or specially defensive cow, but I guess we'll find out here in a minute, huh? Kind of a little side note, it really irks me that in Generation 8 there's no versus recorder, because I could be sitting here for an entire minute and just waiting for my opponent to do something, and it'd be super boring for my my audience. So yeah, but I do learn that he is a physical set with Dragon Claw instead of Dragon Pulse or Draco Meteor, so that's actually kind of interesting. So obviously he's probably pretty aware that I do have a thick fat. That's the most common thing for Miltanks. I do not get the paralyzed with that Body Slam, unfortunately, and I'm kind of scared because I might not be able to live depending if that first Dragon Claw was a high roll or not. I really don't know. So he's just gonna go for the Earthquake. Personally, I would have just gone for another Stab Dragon Claw. I know Earthquake has a little bit higher base power, but Stab is always better in my opinion, unless it's like a huge difference. So I am just going to be able to live with just a little sliver of HP right there and go for the Milk Drink. So I don't know, I think it's kind of funny that the animation even looks a little bit blue. I know it's meant to be like an off-white color for milk, but it does look a little bit blue if you take a closer look at it. So I am just going to switch out to the Moltres here in case he wants to go for another Earthquake. If he wants to go for even another Dragon Claw or his Fire Stab, I think I could take this pretty easily. Unfortunately for me, my opponent does decide to go for the Dynamax. Now, I am personally primarily a Smogon player. I just go by Smogon rules. I've definitely played lots of VGC games and just things like that before. I like to play randoms on Showdown. But I try not to use Dynamax or Gigantamax while on Switch Wi-Fi battles, unless it's like tournament rules or something like that. But this is just a random battle against a random person I've never met before, so there's really no established rules. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. So that Max Flare does do quite a lot to me. I'm pretty sure this is my Bold Moltres with max HP and max defense. So yeah, that did a lot. It might have been like a flamethrower or overheat or something like that off of that max flare. But he's just gonna kill me with that second max move. I think that was a Wormwind, was it? I don't know, I wasn't looking at the screen. Sorry guys. So I'm gonna go into my Space Milk again, seeing as how it does have the thick fat and it's just got my best survivability options. I could go out into my Harambe over here on the sideline, but I really doubt that a 4 times resisted Grassy Glide will do anything to a Turtonator, even if it does have -1 special, or not special defense, physical defense. It now actually has neutral special defense because Shell Smash took it down by 1 and the Max Quake brought it up by 1, so it's now at neutral. So I am gonna actually survive that one again. That was just hilarious, man. Space Milk is doing all the work today. So I'm gonna get that 50% back with another, what's leftovers now? It's 6%, right? Yeah, so 56% back altogether this turn. And the Tornado is done with its max turns. So I'm actually gonna go for a Bison. I'm guessing he over predicted and got super greedy, thinking I was just gonna go for another milk drink. But I mean, come on, man, you're not Dynamax anymore, so you can't deal the same kind of damage. And that's kind of unfortunate for you being a little bit greedy there, because this Bison is going to be able to take you out. I'm not sure if it would have if you're only at -1, but now you're -2 physical defense. That is definitely going to take you out. And now, while my opponent takes almost a full minute to decide what he's going to do, let's watch my Miltank have a little dance party. Of course, don't forget to stretch before dancing, kids. You don't want to pull a muscle. Now, my opponent's finally going to make a move and decide to send out his Pinch Urchin. I know exactly what this thing is going to do, especially if it has the Electric Surge. It's either going to be a Life Orb or Choice Specs, full-out special attacker. Now, this thing is usually best in Trick Room teams, or teams with a lot of support, like with Sticky Webs or Tailwind even. I know Tailwind isn't very common in singles, but it's an option. It's there. Now, I have no idea why he would decide to just go for Rising Voltage while I still have a Garchomp and a Seaking that could potentially have a Lightning Rod. Maybe he's unfamiliar with the fact that Seaking does get Lightning Rod and he just didn't think I'd switch out to Garchomp. I don't know, that just really wasn't the best play for my opponent to make there. So I am just going to take this opportunity to switch out because I know that he is most likely going to be either Choice Specs or Life Orb, probably Choice Specs. So I'm going to set up the substitute on the obvious switch out since he can't touch me. No, can't touch this. Except for Thaki. Thaki can touch me. Just not in the wrong places. So he's going to set up the Grassy Surge. That is going to be weakening my not my grass moves, my ground moves. Obviously I'm not going to be using an Earthquake on a grass type. But either way, I am safely behind the substitute. I get my leftovers, and I'm going to get the Grassy Surge recovery back. So that's really nice for me. It's pretty much almost negating the amount of HP that the substitute took away from me. So I pretty much got full range to do whatever I feel like. I'm going to go for the Fire Blast against Sathaki just because it is, let's see, I think in Gen 6 that it dropped to 110 base power. And it used to be 120, but whatever. And it's not stab, but it is a pretty good strong hit there. It's not doing quite the damage I'm looking for, and I don't really want to mess around with the accuracy with this thing right now because I don't know what it's going to do, truly. So I'm pretty much just going to take this next opportunity to go for a Dragon Claw here, just because the stab kind of makes up for the lower base power, and it's got 100% accuracy either way. So now the Thaki is going to set up a Swords Dance, and that's just freaking scary. I figure he's just going to go for the Grassy Glide at this point, and I don't think that'll kill me because I am a Garchomp. Garchomp has some pretty good HP, and its defenses are not bad either. So like I said, I'm just going to go for the Dragon Claw, as he does end up going for the Grassy Glide like I thought. And that brings me down all the way down to the red, 36 HP, but he does get the rough skin damage, kind of ensuring that my Dragon Claw will KO. I wasn't totally sure if it did, if it would or not. If it got a low roll, then it probably wouldn't, but since it got the rough skin damage, it's definitely KO at that point. So I am going to get the recovery from the leftovers and Grassy Surge once more, bringing me back up to the yellow at 58 HP. So I'm sitting pretty tight here. I got a pretty nice lead. I think what am I right now? 5-2? 5-3? Yeah, okay, so he's going to send out his Weezing, which does not have Levitate. As we see here, again, it is a neutralizing gas, but I mean, he's not going to be hitting me with any physical attacks, so that doesn't really even matter. Losing my rough skin doesn't matter. I know the Grassy Surge is still up, but this actually does a massive amount of damage considering that Weezing is just so naturally physically bulky and the Grassy Surge is up. So not even disappointed. Garchomp did a lot of work just there. So he's going to go down after a long goodbye. And the Weezing will get a little bit of recovery back there. Really not a big deal to me. I can really send out anything I want at this point, except for Harambe. Harambe probably would not be the best option for me, but I do just go into my Aegis Slash, my Bloodshed over here, since he hasn't seen any action at all and he's craving some blood. So I am just going to go for the Flash Cannon because it's stab, and I mean, I'm pretty sure it'll do a pretty good chunk of damage to the Pincurchin, even if he does decide to switch that in. He actually just goes for the Memento. He is faster than me, so maybe he's invested in speed. I know Aegis Slash is pretty naturally slow, but maybe he has a little bit of speed invested. I'm not really sure what the difference between their two base speeds is, but yeah, it's interesting. You don't really see Memento that often in singles, so it's a cool little tech. I think we both have some pretty interesting teams here. Obviously mine is a little bit more meta, but I was really just using some of my favorites, and maybe he's doing the same as well. And our favorites just happen to be mostly lower tier. So he is just going to send in the Pincurchin. He really doesn't have too many options left. He's only got 2 Pokemon left, the Pincurchin and 1 more. So the Electric Surge is going to be activated on upon the entry. So that doesn't really bother me. I don't want to take a Rising Voltage to the face, so I am actually going to go ahead and switch out into my Seaking this time around, and pretty much just because I know he's going to go for the Rising Voltage. I mean, he has no reason not to. I'm guessing he just doesn't know Seaking gets access to Lightning Rod. So that's definitely a huge advantage for me, because now I'm at +1 special attack. I'm not sure if I mentioned earlier or not, but I do have the Quiet Nature, max HP, and max special attack with 4 EVs and physical attack. So now I can pretty much just go for a Scald and get some nice damage on basically anything, even this incoming Politoed, which is actually going to be beneficial for me because the Rain gives me an additional boost to my Water Stab. So the Scald is +1 and in the Rain, and it actually does a pretty good chunk to his Politoed, a little bit more than a quarter, a little less than a third. You know, just kind of in that little gray area. But I do feel confident that he can't really do anything to me. She shows me Brick Break, so I'm like, is this supposed to be like a Belly Drum Toad or something? I have not seen one of those in a long time, not since like early Gen 5. But he's just going to keep going for the Brick Break, as I think I just keep going for some Scalds here. I have no reason not to. I got the Rain Boost and +1 in special attack. This one actually does take him out with nice, easy critical hits. Whew, I'm loving those crits today. So he only has 1 option left. Obviously, it's just a Pincurchin, and I don't think it's going to be able to take out the rest of my team. I don't know, what do you guys think? So he actually doesn't activate the Rising Voltage because it's still active when he comes out. So I think he only has like 1 or 2 turns of it left over. Obviously he can't use it though because Seaking has Lightning Rod. He'd just be boosting me even more. Unfortunately, I do not one-hit KO. I was a little disappointed there, but I do get the burn, so that's cool. Hex doesn't really do anything to me because I don't have any stats conditions on my Seaking. And I'm just going to finish this off with my final move that I have not shown yet, being Icy Wind. So very good game to my opponent, Pico here. You know, just a random battle. I have no idea who this is, but good game, sir. I had a lot of fun, and you guys make sure to stick around, like, comment, and subscribe for more epic Wi-Fi battles. And have a nice day, everyone. Bye.